Lahaya, my friends. The name's Kosal, and I'm here to answer the age-old question on whether or not you can make a D&D character while following the laws of Judaism.
Will we get a YouTube strike? Stay tuned to find out.
Listen up, Goyim. There's 613 commandments, but only 4 things we need to make a D&D character. Race, class, personality, and just a sprinkle of backstory. So gather up your chutzpah and pack some gefilte fish to go. It's time to take D&D kosher.
I know where we've been, yeah. But baby, that was then. Who knows where?
The history of the Jewish people is long and arduous, so believe me when I say I've thought very carefully about what D&D race is equivalent to them, because unlike these other D&D build guys, I put in the research. Alright, you got me. I just read the wiki pages. Now, if you didn't know, there's a lot of different subcategories of Jewish people. You've got Ashkenazis, Sephardims, Mizrahims, Bukharans, Orthodox Jews, Conservative Jews, Reformist Jews, Reconstructionist Jews, Caucasus Jews, Romani Jews, Ethiopian Jews, Kai Fang Jews, Cochin Jews, and my personal favorite that kind of counts but also not really, the Gnostic Jew. We'll get to that later. But we can't go through every single one of these various ethnic groups. That'll take way too long, so I'll just save that for when I make a Kickstarter and scam everyone that's watching. Let's just start with the original Israelites, who hail from the lands of the Levant, whose history can basically be broken down to being exiled worldwide diaspora and unfortunately facing some sort of prejudice from surrounding communities that they immigrated to. Aww. Now, there's no perfect D&D race that's an exact one-to-one copy of the Semitic people, but we can get kinda close at least.
Hold your horses!
Now, I know my audience, so get your stereotypical fetishes out of here. As funny as it would be to just say goblins and call it a day, that's racist. And I don't own $1 billion franchise to back me up, but there's really only one race that I found that kind of fits this criteria, but listen, you gotta open your mind here, all right? And this is the best bet we got. The race that will represent the Jewish community in Dungeons and Dragons is the Drow.
Another drow true soul. As if there weren't enough of you.
Alright, before you type your comment, let me tell you something. It just makes sense. In the D&D lore, many Drow are followers of Lolth, the Queen of Spiders. Not a very good lady, let me tell you that much. Lots of slavery, which, ironically, kinda appropriate. Stay with me now. A long time ago, Lolth was originally known as Arashni, the elven goddess of destiny. Well, before she tried to rebel against and kill the creator of elves and was casted down into the abyss. Those who followed her into the Underdark are what we now know as the Drow. But our character is not a follower of Lolth. You see, before failing her rebellion, Lolth had a baby with the same god of elves that she tried to kill, by the way, and conceived a daughter named Elistray, the chaotic good goddess of beauty and freedom, whose sole mission is to lead the Drow to quote, unquote,
a rightful place awaits you in the realms above, in the land of the great light. Come in peace and live beneath the sun again, where trees and flowers grow. Also, subscribe to Kosal, because he makes the best D&D videos.
AKA the material plane, AKA their original homeworld, AKA if we're looking at present-day D&D lore, which takes place in the year 1490 DR, and if Lolth's rebellion took place during the Age of Myths, then that technically makes the material plane land that was promised to the Drow 10,000 years ago. You're getting that sense of communal restoration, people that are misunderstood by outside eyes, and tight-knit identities spread amongst the populace in the material plane. Also, you get to cast darkness for free, which is pretty fucking cool.
labeling Jew.
With any character that's based off of real-world religious examples, it would be easy for me to say cleric and call it a day. But then you'll have to listen to the rest of your party complain because you didn't want to play Peace Domain. Well, there's Trickery Domain, which is pretty cool, but let's be real, I'm already towing the line far enough as it is. If you were to go a half drow, then you could technically benefit with the +1 to charisma for warlocks and bards, but if we're following the rules of the Tanakh, then you would be a child of sin, since one may only lay with a fellow devout follower of Yahweh. Who do you think I am? Fucking Pack Tactics? I run roleplay builds, not the meta. But what some folks don't know is that a lot of Judaic practices stem from mystic history. Basically, the major 3 Abrahamic religions are just an amalgamation of ancient Canaanite and Mesopotamian religions with just a dash of Hellenistic philosophy and Zoroastrianism. And I don't gotta be a big-tittied earth-tone goth girl to tell you how weird some of that shit can get. This is a fantasy tabletop, so we are going all in our magic fantasy, baby. Entering into the scene, the Kabbalah. The Kabbalah is basically a way of thinking that connects our physical world to the divine, to seek knowledge and understand how an infinite God interacts with a finite world. What the fuck does that mean? I don't know. I'm not Jewish. But I think this pretty clearly leaves us with a wizard, someone seeking information to connect the interwinings of our universe. You could be a traveling teacher that wants to spread the message of Elistray to the Golem of Faerun, or perhaps a scientist that's trying to finish their religious research. But I would be remiss to not also mention another class. You see, Jewish mythos also has a lot of stories about golems. And who can specialize in making golems? The artificer. Sure, the wizard can cast, summon, construct, but let's be real, that's not nearly as cool as being a battlesmith. It also kind of works out because apparently drow get disadvantage on attack rolls in sunlight. Is that real? That sounds like ass. Why would you ever play that? Whatever. It's important to recognize the thought process found behind a Jewish golem. They're not just something to make all willy-nilly, because just as with any religious text, there are a lot of underlying themes. The reasons to create a golem vary, but they can be broken down into 3 main ideas. 1. To show your mastery and understanding of the Kabbalah. 2. To use as a servant for labor. And 3. The protection of the Jewish community. In this case, your fellow Elistray followers. They're created by forming a human-like creature out of earth or clay and animated by placing ancient Hebrew letters or divine names on various places of its body, typically by a rabbi. It's one of the reasons why actually saying the word God goes against one of the many commandments in the Torah. Words have power in Judaism. Side note, Elistray has multiple different titles, so simply referring to her as the Dark Maiden or Lady Silverhair can act as an appropriate alternative to the one true goddess. The Kabbalah puts a lot of life lessons into its golem stories, preaching things like how power requires a responsible person, or that creation without a soul is a pale imitation to true humanity. I don't know what any of that fucking means, but it sounds like some stuff I can roleplay with, and Papa Kosal gets down with that. You just gotta mess around with it, and maybe describe the artificer class in a more mystical and divine way, rather than the stupid Marvel Iron Man way that D&D does. Look at these as little details to really build up your Jewishness in a world of Faerun. There's also a very big emphasis with Jewish golems that instructions are important in how they're worded. They're basically genies that take things very literally. Just something for your dungeon master to play around with if they want. If you're gonna be a proper Jewish artificer, you have to realize that the relationship between man and creation is a distinctive line. And just because something can be created doesn't mean it should.
Right there. Fuck. What the fuck? Dude, I swear to God, I was fucking making the video, and I swear to God, there was just a guy right fucking there. He was just standing. Where the fuck is he?
Buckle in, guys and gals, this one's about to get dicey because there's a lot to follow here. Just like with any proper D&D personality, we can't overload the front end. In my opinion, the best personality traits are simplified in the beginning and come into play as the campaign progresses. But the least we can do is get the main gist of it down and give ourselves a guideline to follow. Now, as we already found out, there are 613 different commandments. Thanks, Jewfact.org. Luckily, they are split up into different categories, and the best way to roleplay is by summarizing things so that we can have an idea of how to roleplay. Also, it's technically impossible to follow every single commandment in the Torah, and from what I've learned, you're not expected to do so anyways. Kinda, sometimes, depending on how you look at it, maybe. Either way, you're an adventurer in a D&D campaign, so the Demon Lord probably isn't gonna let you take your Shabbat in the middle of trying to kill him. So I've created a general breakdown of the major tenets our Drow Artificer will be following. The Dark Maiden is the one true God. One shall not blaspheme her name, and all others are false beings trying to usurp her glory. Basically, pay your respects to her and fuck all the other gods. In fact, don't even call them gods, they don't deserve it. Also carry a book that you are personally using to copy down the Torah. But Elistray does not have a Torah, so I believe the equivalent would be a book of various dances, hymns, poems, and songs that you collect on your journey. Fuck it, let's call it the Drowa. One should look to honor the old and wise through song, dance, and stories. Learn the ways of the Dark Maiden and teach her guidance to the people you meet.
It's time to cut the hoodie and free the shaft. Why does Elistray want you to circumcise yourself? Because she's the goddess of freedom, and baby, it's time to let that sucker get some breathing room. You should love all your fellow Elistray believers and save those that are in danger. Basically, don't be an asshole or make your people look bad. Just be charitable, that's really it. Do not lay with those who are not followers of Elistray. However, you should still love and do no wrong to the stranger. But if they owe you something, then get that shit back with interest. Yeah, that's real. In fact, the interest is mandatory. Take care of your parents and have a shit ton of kids, because Elistray is kind of freaky like that. No, really. She's like a nude, sexy goddess, but not on like some Bonnie Blue type shit. More like a ritualistic nudity dancing. Yeah, real sexy stuff right there. ERP is forbidden, unless in the private sanctions with one spouse. Also, don't bang animals. That's disgusting. Or be a homosexual man. Sorry, Critical Role, but it doesn't say anything about lesbians, so congratulations, y'all are in the clear.
One of this, what's the name of the fish?
The filter fish.
You can eat fish, birds that don't eat other animals, and mammals besides for pigs. They also have to be slaughtered under Jewish law, which means that you're probably gonna be making your own meals during a campaign. However, there is a commandment called Pikwash Nefesh, which states that the preservation of human life overrides virtually any other religious rule in a survival setting. You can drink alcohol, but don't go crazy, because Elistray is the goddess of joy, and nobody likes being that guy at a party. And no wine. I don't know why. She just hates grapes, I guess. Come on. Come on. You know. You know what I mean. Come on. I don't gotta say it out loud, do I? Come on, you know. Come on. Come on.
Traps are lame, and if someone's trying to cause some act of violence on another, you're now allowed by Elistray to kill him. In fact, don't even hesitate, just kill him. Fairly self-explanatory, don't be a murder hobo or an asshole or kidnap a follower of Elistray. I guess that means you can kidnap other people? I'm not really sure.
Always follow the words of a prophet for your generation, provided they follow the Drowa. According to D&D lore, the closest would be this sexy lady named Kalui Veladorn, who's technically a Star Wars Force ghost at this present day time. Yeah, that's a real sexy ghost, isn't it? So yeah, I would say all of this is pretty self-explanatory. Just remember that it's really more of a guideline to keep in mind rather than to strictly follow every single one of these commandments. Of course, there are some that are set in stone, like Elistray being the only true God, but hey, I know you got it in ya. After all, there's no way like Yahweh. That was fucking stupid. I'm sorry. I'll think of something later. Finally, the moment that everybody has been waiting for. The beautiful backstory. This is the final mile before we reach true enlightenment. And also probably the longest part. So I need you to lock in for me, buddy. Are you good? You comfy? Got a drink and snacks? All right, nice. I love you. First, we have to ask ourselves what makes a good backstory. Personally, I think there's a criteria to meet. It has to be flexible, it can't be bogged down too much, connections to a group of NPCs for a dungeon master to play around with in a campaign, a mix of character flaws and strengths, and last but not least, your motive for choosing to adventure with a party. So, what do we know about ourselves so far? We are a drow artificer battlesmith that is a follower of Elistray. We always make sure to follow the drowa. We like dancing and interest rates. Our origins can really be anywhere in the material plane or Underdark. And we want to get along with surface dwellers because the end goal of our religion is to bring all of our people back to land that was promised to us a certain period of time ago. So since we're an artificer cobbler, let's just say we're on a journey to become closer with the Dark Maiden. We love every drow we see until they tell us they're a dirty Lolth believer. We come from a village of Elistray drow and will do anything in our power to protect them, which is why we need an antagonist. And I know I said I didn't want to expand on the overall lore for our pseudo-Jewish society, but goddamn, this just fits perfectly. Let me introduce you to what is known as Gnosticism. And here to give a brief explanation of the ancient religion is my resident Jewish history expert, Newton. Take it away, bud.
You know, I'll be honest with you.
I am so sorry. I don't know why he said that. That was terrible. I'm sorry. It won't happen again. Here's my friend Thomas instead. He's not Jewish, but he looks like Jesse Eisenberg in The Social Network, so that's close enough, I guess.
Giza Plateau, Egypt.
Jews detected.
It is said that this is where the age of Gnostics began, a philosophical movement that would bring about change and demons.
What if I told you that Judaism is a scam? Enter Gnosticism, an ancient belief system that basically says the world you see, cheap imitation, not built by the ultimate god, by a cosmic imposter known as the Demiurge. The divine source is way beyond this universe, and that something else down here is running the show. Something flawed, something clueless. And here's the twist. You and me, we're not from here. Hidden inside you is a fragment of a higher reality, but you've been distracted, trapped in spiritual amnesia. So how do you escape? Not through faith, through secret knowledge. The kind that makes you question everything. Authority, reality, even the story of Adam and Steve. Because in the Gnostic version, the serpent isn't the villain. He's the one trying to wake you up.
Can't wait until I send off a CV and they're like, so we saw your Jew video.
So yeah, that's Gnosticism in a nutshell. If you didn't get it, then it's basically a collection of ancient beliefs that there's a true reality outside of our own that we can only break into by seeking divine knowledge. But the God that created our current world is an evil being called a demiurge trying to control our every being by keeping us ignorant, and that the serpent from Adam and Eve is actually a good guy because it was trying to give humans knowledge. Also, there's there's a true God in the other reality who is actually nice and kind, unlike ours. Now, you might be wondering, how does this relate to Judaism, and isn't it technically just a different religion? Well, you would be kind of right. It's not really a religion, but more so various people from different Abrahamic faiths having a large movement or collection of ideas on their respective beliefs. Let me clarify. While most ancient Jewish people completely rejected the idea of Gnosticism, there were still groups of Israelites who practiced it. In fact, some parts of Gnosticism are said to come directly from both Christianity and Judaism, dating back to when they were still in their primal magic phases. Then it technically grew from Christianity after that, but let's save that for another video. Basically, Gnosticists can be Jewish or Christian, but not all Christians and Jewish people are Gnosticists. It's kind of like studying the Kabbalah. I would still be a Jewish person that's studying to connect the divine to the material world. It's just that this time, I decided to take a heroic dose of acid. Alongside evil God, there's a bunch of cosmic beings called archons that act as a demiurge's loyal subjects. They're basically mini false beings that are also trying to trick humanity, aka every single other god than the real one. Now you might be seeing where I'm coming from with a cool D&D backstory perspective. There's a lot of different ways you can implement this into your backstory. I'm just gonna give you a few suggestions that I think would be kind of fun to roleplay. Perhaps you are a devout follower of Elistray that's on the hunt for a relic that was stolen from your people. I think you can guess who the thieves would be. Your determination can be what drives you to adventure, but causes you to be short-sighted in terms of what's going on around you at current times. Another route would be incorporating a Gnostic story called The Fall of Sophia. Sophia is basically a female Jesus that accidentally created the demiurge by trying to create things like true God. I think that could play well with your golem. You seek to become closer with Elistray through your construct, but this ends up eventually leading to your downfall. But I personally think that the funnest way to roleplay would be playing as a partial Gnostic yourself. There could be some scenario where you start to grow suspicious of your environment. You want to seek out knowledge to find out why Elistray is acting a little odd, just to find out you're surrounded by a bunch of fakers. But most importantly, you can still maintain your Judaic Elistrayan commandments because you're just a person that's on the search for the one true Elistray. That gives you reason for disliking other archons/gods, some wiggle room to change things around, and most importantly, you have a reason to hang out with the party. God, there's just so many things you can do with this backstory, and that's really the beauty I found while researching Judaism for this video. When you compare them with the followers of Elistray, you really start to see how the parallels begin to shine. They're both people that have been crushed to the ground repeatedly, but over and over, they rise to defy outside perceptions and refuse to stay in the shadows of their oppressors. As somebody that grew up Buddhist, that's fucking beautiful, man. These two religions are a testament to the proper way one should look at adversity. They both keep on doing their dancey dances and the music stays playing. Because at the end of the day, getting knocked down in a fight isn't what kills you. It's choosing to stay down that does. I'm your host, Kosal, and this has been how to play a D&D character while following the laws of Judaism. I hope you've learned just as much as I did on this journey. And in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Except for my friend Newt, he's a bad person. Oh my god. Oh my god, that took longer than I expected. Alright, almost done. Last thing, I guess I gotta do the thumbnail now. Alright, let's go ahead and do that. Yeah, a little Israel. Is that too much? Nah, they'll understand I'm joking, right? Yeah, they'll understand. Huh. Hold up. What the fuck? What the fuck am I looking at right now? Maybe if I turn it, what? Holy fucking shit.
What the fuck? What the fuck? Joey? You home?
Breaking news. A young man was reported missing from his home Tuesday afternoon. At this hour, investigators have not released details about what may have led to the disappearance, but they confirm that multiple leads are being followed. This marks the 50th missing persons case in 1 week, sparking controversy on whether or not law enforcement are taking proactive measures in such cases. Anyone with information is urged to contact your local authorities immediately.
We at Blackhawk will continue to do everything we can to support our colleagues and all our clients in the region.